Look, sometimes the loudest thing you can do is stay quiet. Everybody out here trying to prove something, post something, say something, but silence is power. It's peace, it's patience. It's when the world stops hearing you, but God starts speaking to you. I learned early, when you move in silence, you let your actions echo louder than your words ever could. See, real growth don't need validation. Real progress don't need announcement. The seeds don't scream while they grow, they just rise when it's time, and that's the message tonight. Stay silent, everything will come naturally. See, silence is more than just peace and quiet, it's creation. It's that sacred space between where you are and where you're trying to go. The world teaches you to always be loud, always be seen, always be posting, always be explaining. But real elevation don't happen in the spotlight. It happens when you turn the volume down and let your spirit speak louder than your mouth ever could. When you stay quiet, you start to hear what's next for you. You start to feel where life is trying to lead you. You start hearing that inner voice that knows exactly what you were built for. Too much noise drowns that out. Everybody got advice. Everybody got an opinion, but not everybody got clarity. I learned early that silence ain't emptiness. It's alignment. It's when you disconnect from the chaos to reconnect with purpose. When you silence the opinions, the doubts, the pressure, you create room for clarity to move in. You can't hear your calling when you're surrounded by confusion. Sometimes God don't speak in thunder, he whisper, and you only catch that whisper when you're quiet enough to listen. Think about a seed for a minute. Before it becomes a tree, it gets buried in dirt. It's dark down there, lonely, uncomfortable. Ain't nobody clapping for it, ain't nobody praising it. But that's where transformation happens. That's where roots form, strength builds, and potential wakes up. That's exactly what your silent season is. Your underground phase. It's not punishment, it's preparation. You ain't buried, you planted. You're not forgotten, you're growing. But here's the problem. Most people can't handle being unseen. They want applause before the work, validation before the results. They quit the moment things get quiet because they think nothing's happening. But you can't rush what's real. You can't microwave purpose. Some things need time in the soil. You gotta trust that what's growing in silence gone show up in due season. When I was building the marathon, we moved like ghosts. No big talk, no flashy promises, no bragging. We was studying the game, learning how to own it, failing behind closed doors, fixing it, and coming back stronger. We didn't need to announce every move because the real ones know results speak for themselves. Silence gave me space to dream without pressure, to fail without judgment, to plan without interruption. It gave me the clarity to see the bigger picture before anybody else could. Sometimes I think about how easy it would have been to talk too soon, to show the world something that wasn't ready. That's what a lot of people do. They rush the process for applause, then end up exposing what still needed time to grow. That's why patience is a form of power. It's saying, I know what's mine is coming, so I don't need to prove nothing yet. When you got vision, silence becomes your protection. It keeps dream killers out. It keeps distractions from steering you off course. There's a story I once heard about bamboo. For years, after it's planted, you water it, you care for it, you show up daily, but nothing happens. For 5 years straight, it don't break the surface. Most people give up thinking it's dead, but then in the 5th year, it shoots up almost 80 feet in a few weeks. What changed? Nothing, except it was finally time. The roots had been growing, building a foundation strong enough to hold that kind of growth. That's what silence does. It's your root work. It's the part nobody sees, but it's what holds everything up when success finally comes. The truth is, your vision needs privacy. You gotta let it breathe before you let it be judged. Every masterpiece starts in solitude. Every idea worth something starts with stillness. You can't build something legendary while constantly explaining yourself to people who don't even get the blueprint. Silence don't mean you're hiding. It means you're focusing. It means you're letting your actions do the talking. When I think back, all the real breakthroughs in my life happened in moments of isolation. When the phone stopped ringing, when the noise faded, when I had to sit with myself and ask, what's next? That's when I got answers. That's when God showed me the next move. That's when the plan became clear. Cause silence forces you to look within, and everything you need to build something great starts inside you first. We live in a time where people confuse visibility with value. They think if they're not seen, they're not succeeding. But some of the greatest work is done in the shadows. Think about the sun. It rises in silence. It don't need a crowd to announce it. It just shows up and everything around it shifts. That's how you gotta move. Quiet power, steady progress. Let your glow do the speaking. The hardest part about the silent season is trusting it. You got to fight the urge to compare your journey to someone else's timeline. You see people posting wins, flexing, celebrating, and you start questioning your pace. But comparison is the killer of peace. You don't know how much noise they made to hide the fact they ain't built on nothing solid. Focus on your own soil. Keep watering your own roots. Silence is where the real ones separate from the loud ones. There's a strength that comes from knowing you don't need to talk about it. You just be about it. That's real confidence. You ain't desperate for attention. You grounded in your purpose. And when you move like that, you start attracting what's meant for you, because the universe responds to calm energy. The more you force things, the more resistance you create. But when you stay silent, patient, and consistent, everything that's supposed to come to you flows naturally. So stay in that quiet grind. Don't mistake stillness for stagnation. Just because it's not loud don't mean it's not happening. Keep building, keep planting, keep trusting. One day that silence gone break and the world gonna hear you loud and clear, not because you talked about it, but because you became it. That's what it means when I say silence is the space where vision grows. It's where the dream takes shape. It's where the unseen becomes unstoppable. It's where the foundation of everything real is laid. So embrace that quiet time, protect it, respect it, cause when your time comes, and it will, the world gone realize you was never sleeping. You was just growing. Energy is everything. It's your currency, your power, your life force. You can lose money and get back, lose friends and find new ones. But once your energy's gone, it's gone. That's why silence becomes your protection. When you quiet the noise, you start realizing how much of yourself you've been giving away for free, arguing with people who don't matter, explaining yourself to folks who already made up their mind, trying to prove your worth to people who couldn't see your vision if you handed it to them in a frame. Silence teaches you how to conserve that energy, how to keep it where it belongs, inside your purpose. You gotta guard your peace like it's your last dollar. I learned that the hard way. There was a time when I used to respond to everything, every doubt, every rumor, every misunderstanding. I thought clarity came from explaining myself. But over time, I realized every time I spoke on something that didn't deserve my breath, I gave away a piece of my power. Not everyone deserves access to your energy. Not everyone should know what's next for you. Some people only want to know your moves so they can block them. Some people only ask about your plans so they can copy them. You gotta learn to recognize the difference between curiosity and loyalty. When you talk too much, you give people a map to your mission. And when they don't understand your purpose, they'll use that map to misdirect you. The more you talk, the more you explain, the more you let others drain your energy with their confusion, their doubt, their fear. That's why silence ain't weakness, it's strategy. When you keep quiet, you keep control. You're not playing defense anymore, you're playing chess. Sometimes silence ain't about shyness, it's about self-control. You can't respond to every opinion, you can't react to every comment, you can't explain every move. People gonna talk whether you do or you don't. And if you keep feeding in responses, you'll starve your focus. You'll find yourself fighting battles that don't even exist. When you know your heart is pure, when your intention is right, you don't need to convince nobody. You just keep moving. Silence says more than words ever could. There's a peace that comes when you stop defending yourself to people who never planned to understand you anyway. You stop explaining your dreams to small minds. You stop arguing with people who only see from their level. It's like trying to describe the ocean to someone who's only seen puddles. They just can't get it. So instead of wasting that energy, you put it back into your grind. Let your results be the conversation. Let your progress be the clapback. Even in business, the greats understand this. Look at Apple. They don't run to the world telling everybody what's next. They don't leak their process. They don't ask for opinions. They perfect the product in silence, and then, boom, they drop it and the world stops. That's how you gotta move in life. Quiet grind, loud results. You ain't gotta prove nothing. Just keep perfecting your craft, and when it's time, let it speak for you. When I was coming up, people used to ask what I was working on. I could have told them everything, every plan, every idea, but I learned that talking about moves before they real just gives people a chance to doubt you. It opens the door for negativity to sneak in. So instead, I stayed quiet. I let them wonder. And when it was time, I showed up with the proof. That's the beauty of silence. It keeps the mystery alive. It makes people respect your discipline. See, energy is like water. It flows where you direct it. If you keep pouring it into negativity, you'll drown in it. But if you contain it, if you protect it, it starts building pressure. And when that pressure releases, it moves mountains. That's what happens when you protect your peace. Your energy compounds. It gets stronger, sharper, clearer. You start attracting the right things instead of chasing them. There's something powerful about walking away from noise. You ever notice how peaceful it feels when you stop explaining yourself? When you stop arguing your value? That's not weakness. That's growth. That's emotional maturity. Silence gives you back your time, your strength, your focus. It reminds you that not every reaction deserves a response. Sometimes the best revenge is elevation. Sometimes the best statement is success. When you start living like that, you realize how much energy you used to waste. Energy spent trying to convince people who didn't believe in you anyway. Energy spent trying to make everyone comfortable with your dreams. But dreams don't fit into comfort zones. Your mission don't need approval. It needs action. Protect that. Protect your energy like your life depends on it, because it does. That energy fuels your creativity, your passion, your drive. Without it, you can't move how you need to move. You got to know that silence don't mean you disconnected. It means you're tuned in. It means you're focused on the vision instead of the voices. When you talk too much, you leak power. When you listen more, you gain insight. The great ones always listen more than they speak. They study, they absorb, they move when it's time. And let me tell you something, everybody don't deserve to know the real you. The more private you become, the stronger you get. There's peace in privacy. There's safety in mystery. People can't shoot down what they can't see. That's why the ones who last long in the game know how to move low-key. They don't need to be seen to be successful. They don't need to be loud to be heard. Protecting your energy also means protecting your circle. Some people only show up to drain you. You can feel it. The way the room changes when they enter. Energy don't lie. So pay attention to how you feel around people. If you always feel tired, anxious, or small after talking to someone, that's a sign they take in from your spirit. Silence helps you notice that. It helps you see who's real and who's just around for the noise. That's why I tell people all the time, you don't lose friends when you choose peace. You just learn who was really never with you. Not everyone gonna understand your silence, but that's okay. Real ones do. Real ones feel energy, not explanations. When you learn to stay quiet, you learn to move different. You become unpredictable. You become powerful. 'Cause now your actions speak for you. Your energy speaks for you. And people can't argue with results. They might doubt your silence, but they can't deny your success. That's why when I say silence protects your energy, I mean it protects everything tied to your growth. It guards your focus. It shields your faith. It keeps you from pouring yourself into empty cups, because the truth is, you can't pour from an empty soul. You can't build from a drained spirit. So keep your peace sacred. Keep your plans sacred. Move with intention. Speak with purpose. And only when necessary, let your silence be your armor, your filter, your focus. Protect your energy and watch how your world changes. Watch how much lighter you feel. Watch how much more aligned things become. Because when you stop explaining yourself, you start experiencing yourself. And when you protect your energy, you protect your potential. Not everybody needs to see your grind. They'll see the glow up when it's time. Patience is one of the hardest things to learn, especially in a world that glorifies speed. Everybody wants it now. They want success quick. They want recognition quick. They want the outcome without the process. But silence forces you to slow down. It humbles you. It teaches you how to sit with the uncertainty without losing yourself. When you in silence, you learn to wait not out of weakness, but out of wisdom. That's when you start realizing that everything real takes time to grow. The bigger the blessing, the longer the preparation. But too many people quit right before the breakthrough because they couldn't handle the quiet. They think silence means nothing's moving. But silence is never empty. It's full of unseen activity. It's the pause before the blessing, the setup before the shift. When God moves, he don't always make noise about it. He don't need an audience to perform miracles. Sometimes he moves in silence because he's testing your discipline, testing your ability to trust the unseen. You might not hear applause, you might not see progress, but that don't mean nothing's happening. You just can't see it yet. There's something shifting behind the curtain, something getting aligned for you. Patience is about trusting that divine timing, believing that what's yours is already yours. Even when you can't touch it yet. When I was trying to break into the rap game, I went through years of silence. No label calls, no radio play, no industry cosigns, just grinding day after day, building from nothing. I watched people blow up overnight and wondered why it wasn't me yet. But deep down, I knew my journey was different. I wasn't built for the quick come up. I was building for longevity. And that silence, As painful as it was, taught me patience. It taught me that desperation creates mistakes, but patience builds legacy. If you rush the process, you compromise the quality. But if you stay down, if you trust your season, everything that's meant for you gonna come naturally. And when it comes, it lasts. It's like planting a tree. You don't put the seed in the dirt and dig it up every day to check if it's growing. You water it, you nurture it, you give it time. And eventually, when the season's right, it breaks through the surface. That's what patience looks like. You do your part and you trust the timing. You can't force what's divine. You can't rush what's written. But silence, man, silence will test you. It'll have you doubting yourself, questioning if you're still on the right path. You'll look around and see everybody else moving and you'll feel stuck. But that's just the illusion. See, silence ain't stagnation. It's incubation. That's where you grow in ways the world can't see. That's where you develop resilience, consistency, faith. That's where your character catches up to your calling. You don't get that from applause, you get that from stillness. You ever notice how before the storm hits, there's always that moment of calm? The air gets quiet, the world slows down. It's that silence right before everything shifts. That's life too. God gonna always give you that silent season before he elevates you. Because if he gave it to you too early, you wouldn't be ready. You'd fumble the blessing you prayed for. So instead, he hides you. He puts you in a season where it feels like nothing's happening, but really he's preparing you for everything you asked for. That's why you can't rush it. Every delay got direction in it. Every quiet moment got purpose in it. There's a reason why people who move with patience end up lasting longer. Look at the legends. They didn't chase trends. They built timelessness. That's because they knew greatness don't happen overnight. It's sculpted in silence. Every brick of their empire was laid in seasons nobody saw. That's the part people don't post. The long nights, the rejections, the moments where you question yourself. But that's where you build the muscle. That's where your foundation gets strong enough to handle the weight of success. And don't get it twisted. Patience don't mean sitting around doing nothing. It means keeping your faith steady while you work. It means moving without desperation. It's staying consistent without validation. It's learning to move in rhythm with your destiny instead of fighting against it. Some of the greatest blessings I ever received came after long seasons of silence. Times when I thought it was over, times when I thought nobody was paying attention. But that's when God was working the hardest. Patience also separates dreamers from doers. Anybody can want something, but only the disciplined stay through the drought. Most people want success like it's fast food. Order it, get it, and post it. But real success is like slow cooking. It takes heat, time, and pressure. It's built from endurance, not excitement. And that's why when it finally arrives, it tastes different. You appreciate it more because you know what it took to get there. When I reflect on my journey, I realize that silence didn't just teach me patience. It taught me faith. It showed me that even when it looks like nothing's happening, God's still working. You just can't see it from where you stand. Every closed door, every delay, every not yet was really a redirection. It's like he was saying, hold on, I'm not done building the stage yet. And when that stage was ready, everything started aligning naturally. That's how blessings move, quietly, perfectly, right on time. But I get it. It's hard to wait when you feel ready. It's hard to stay still when you see others winning. You start thinking maybe you're doing something wrong, but you're not. You're just in your process. Everyone's timeline is different. Some flowers bloom in spring, others not till fall. But every one of them blooms when they're supposed to. So don't compare your silence to someone else's season of noise. You don't know what they went through to get there, and you don't know what you're being saved from by waiting. The truth is, silence reveals your strength. It shows whether you trust yourself or not. Anybody can be confident when the crowd's cheering, but can you stay solid when it's just you and your dream? Can you keep going when nobody's watching? That's where patience shows its value. That's when faith becomes real. And one day you're going to look back and thank God for that silence. You're going to realize it wasn't punishment. It was preparation. You're going to see how every delay shaped you, how every quiet night built your discipline, how every closed door protected you from something that wasn't yours. You're going to see how everything lined up perfectly once you stopped rushing and started trusting. So when the world goes quiet on you, don't panic. When you feel unseen, uncelebrated, or stuck, remind yourself this is the space where patience is built. This is where you become unshakable, because when you can stay calm while nothing's happening, you build faith that can't be broken. And when the time's right, everything meant for you, every door, every opportunity, every blessing Gonna come to you naturally, and you'll be ready to hold it. Most people run from silence because they're afraid of what it'll show them. They scared of what might come up when the world gets quiet. They don't want to face their doubts, their insecurities, their pain, so they keep distracting themselves, scrolling, talking, partying, filling the silence with noise so they don't have to face themselves. But silence is where you find out who you really are. When there's nobody around, no validation, no applause, just you and your thoughts, that's when the truth shows up. And if you can sit in that space and not question your worth, not shrink yourself, not lose faith in your vision, that's when you know you've grown. That's when you realize confidence don't come from what people think of you. It comes from what you think of you. See, real confidence is quiet. It's not loud. It's not boastful. It's not looking for confirmation. It's calm. It's steady. It's built from repetition and self-trust. Confidence ain't about how loud you talk. It's about how solid you move when nobody's watching. It's that voice inside that says, I don't need to prove nothing to nobody because I already know who I am. That kind of confidence only comes from silence. You can't fake it. You can't post it. You can't talk your way into it. You got to earn it in the quiet. When you spend time in silence, you learn how to validate yourself. You stop looking for claps from people who don't even understand your rhythm. You stop waiting for approval from people who don't share your vision. The silence forces you to find peace in your own company. It teaches you how to be your own biggest supporter. And once you master that, you stop being shaken by what others think. You stop letting opinions dictate your direction. You start walking in purpose instead of insecurity. I remember when I first started out, people didn't believe in the moves I was making. They thought I was crazy for betting on myself, for building independent, for turning down deals that didn't align. There were a lot of quiet nights, just me. The vision and the grind, no applause, no guarantees, but those silent moments built something in me. They taught me how to trust my gut even when nobody agreed. That's the kind of confidence silence creates. It's unbreakable because it ain't built on hype, it's built on truth. Think about Kobe. He wasn't on social media talking about his workouts. He was in the gym before sunrise when the world was sleeping. He didn't need to tell you he was great. You felt it when he stepped on the court. Same with Jay-Z. He wasn't online posting his every move. He was strategizing, executing, building empires behind the scenes. And Serena, she spent years practicing, failing, getting back up, perfecting her craft in silence. That's why when they stepped into the light, their energy was different. The world could feel the work. That's what silence does. It builds power that speaks for itself. When you constantly need attention, it means you still doubt yourself. You still need the world to tell you you're enough. But when you move in silence, you don't need that. You know what you bring to the table. You know the value of your grind. That's why confidence built in silence is dangerous. It can't be shaken by noise, by hate, by opinions, by failure. Because it wasn't built from outside validation. It was built from inner conviction. You got to understand that silence is not your enemy, it's your mirror. It shows you your weaknesses so you can strengthen them. It reveals your fears so you can face them. It exposes your excuses so you can eliminate them. The more time you spend with yourself, the more you learn what needs fixing, what needs focus, and what needs faith. Silence refines you. It's where you strip away the layers the world placed on you and rediscover who you really are beneath the noise. Confidence don't come from what you show. It comes from what you know. And you only get that knowledge through reflection, through self-awareness, through sitting with yourself. You got to be able to hear your own voice louder than the crowd's. You got to be able to stand on your truth even when it's not popular. That's what silence teaches you, to be still enough to hear your intuition and brave enough to follow it. The truth is, most people mistake silence for doubt. They think if you ain't talking, you ain't working. But real ones know that the most dangerous people are the ones who move in quiet confidence. They don't talk about what they gonna do, they just do it. And by the time the world finds out, it's already done. That's power. That's patience. That's self-belief. Confidence built in silence also protects your peace. When you don't need to announce your every move, you remove the pressure of performance. You stop seeking permission to be great. You start enjoying the process instead of chasing the perception. That's freedom, when you can move how you want, not how people expect you to. I've seen a lot of people lose themselves trying to impress the crowd. They start doubting their own ideas just because someone else don't understand them. But when you ground it in silence, that don't happen. You know how to separate opinions from truth. You know how to trust yourself even when the world don't clap. That's what makes you unstoppable. Confidence ain't built in comfort, it's built in solitude. It's in those nights where you question if you still got it, but you keep pushing. It's in those mornings where you wake up tired, but you still show up. It's in those moments where nobody believes in you, but you still believe in yourself. That's the silent grind that nobody sees, but everybody feels once you make it. And when you finally step into the light, the world can feel it. They can feel the hours, the pain, the discipline, the growth, all that energy you built in private. Confidence built in silence hits different because it's real, it's rooted. It's not performative, it's powerful. You don't gotta say a word. Your presence says enough. So when you find yourself in a silent season, don't fear it. Don't rush out of it. Let it build you. Let it teach you how to stand tall when the room's empty, how to love yourself when nobody's applauding, how to trust your voice when it's the only one speaking. That's the kind of confidence that don't crumble under pressure. That's the kind of belief that don't fade when the noise comes. 'Cause once you've built yourself in silence, no outside sound can break what's already been fortified within. See, the thing about silence is that it's not emptiness, it's power. It's a force that works behind the scenes even when you can't see it. When you move in silence, you stop trying to chase the world, and the world starts chasing you. You ever notice how when you desperate, things break? Doors don't open, plans derail, people let you down, opportunities vanish. That's because you push too hard. You try to force something that ain't ready. You try to bend the universe to your timetable instead of moving with the rhythm of your own grind. But when you slow down, when you quit broadcasting every idea, every dream, every move, that's when life starts moving in your favor. That's when everything aligns naturally. It's like water. Water don't fight, it don't yell, it don't demand, it flows. It finds the path of least resistance, and in doing so, it reaches its destination. Silence works the same way. When you move in quiet discipline, you get to focus on the things you can control, the grind, the craft, your circle, your energy. You stop wasting time on what you can't, and the right people, the right opportunities, and the right moments start finding their way to you. You don't have to chase. You just have to prepare. You just have to be ready to receive what's already meant for you. I remember when Victory Lap dropped, that wasn't just a moment. It was years of silent work, years of showing up while nobody noticed. Years of strategizing, of building, of learning how to navigate the streets, the music industry, and life itself. Nobody saw the hundreds of nights spent in the studio, the early mornings, the doors we knocked on that never opened. They only saw the result, and that's the point. The result never needed an announcement. It was inevitable because we stayed faithful to the process. We stayed patient. We stayed consistent. We didn't chase validation. We didn't need approval. We just did the work, and when the time came, the alignment was perfect. The right collaborators, the right platforms, the right fans, it all came together naturally, and it hit exactly when it was supposed to. Most people think they gotta broadcast every move, every plan, every dream. They think the world needs to know before it happens, but that's a mistake. You don't need an audience for your grind. The right energy always finds you. The right people, the ones who truly matter, always connect with you when your purpose is ready. The key is staying silent, staying grounded, staying true to your vision. When you broadcast before it's time, you create distractions, invite doubt, and allow impatience to creep in. You push instead of flow. You chase instead of attract. The universe works on timing. There's a rhythm to life. You don't need to force the beat. You need to listen to it. That's what moving in silence teaches you. It teaches you trust. Trust in the unseen. Trust in the groundwork you've been laying. Trust in the sweat, the sacrifice, the discipline. You might not see the payoff today. You might not get the recognition now, but that don't mean it ain't working. There's a season for everything, and silence aligns you with that season. Sometimes the hardest part is just waiting. You look around, you see everybody else moving, celebrating, posting, getting clout, and you start feeling like you've fallen behind. But silence teaches you that your timing ain't theirs. Your path ain't theirs. The energy meant for you won't be given to somebody else. If you chase, you miss it. If you force, you break it. But if you move quiet, if you do your work, the alignment comes naturally. It's like gravity. It pulls what belongs to you right to you. And here's the beauty of it. When you move in silence, the world feels it before you even announce it. People sense discipline. People sense preparation. People sense focus. Your presence starts speaking louder than any words could. That's the kind of power that comes from patience, from quiet faith, from consistent action behind closed doors. It's undeniable. It can't be faked. It can't be rushed. And that's why it lasts. I want you to understand something. Success that's forced is fragile. Opportunities that are chased too hard break. Recognition that's begged for fades, but success that aligns naturally, that stays. That's built to last. That's why the silent grind is superior. It's sustainable. It's strategic. It's intentional. Every step, every choice, every sacrifice adds up. And when everything comes together, it comes together in a way that nobody can touch because it was never forced. It was earned. It was cultivated. It was aligned. So stop trying to shout your way into success. Stop telling people your every move. Stop explaining your vision to people who aren't ready to understand it. Stay silent, stay focused, stay consistent, protect your energy, work on your craft, perfect your skill, build your brand, strengthen your mind, cultivate your circle, and trust that the universe will align the right doors, the right people, the right opportunities at exactly the right time. Moving in silence isn't about hiding, it's about mastering yourself. It's about preparing for greatness while the world sleeps. It's about laying a foundation so solid that when the time comes, everything you've prayed for shows up in perfection. The alignment won't be random, it'll be natural, it'll be inevitable, it'll be undeniable. And one day, when the world finally sees the work, they'll know it wasn't luck, they'll know it wasn't hype. They'll feel the power that only comes from consistent, silent dedication. They'll understand that the journey wasn't about being loud, it was about being ready. And you'll stand there knowing that every moment of quiet, every moment of discipline, every moment you stayed true to yourself and your grind was worth it. Because everything that was meant for you came naturally. So move in silence, protect your energy, trust your grind, stay consistent, stay grounded, and let the universe do what it does best. Bring everything that belongs to you right to your doorstep at the perfect time. Without force, without noise, without apology. That's the magic of silence, and that's how you let life align with your purpose.